I'm going to apologise in advance. I try and keep it short, but this one's got 3 parts to it. And I do need to talk about all 3 of them, 2 in particular. The article's just gone up. We'll have it done properly and sent out by the end of the day. And we did it quickly because there's some elders waiting on it right now, and we sent it to them. It relates to a place, it's a site. Unfortunately, we've got involved in one of these issues again, like Duke and Gorge. It's an incredibly sacred site at Tabulam. It's a birthing site, it's a burial site, they're different parts again. There are some amazing rocks that we recovered off this particular site, and I've had a look at them and wrote an article about. Now I've got to tell you, the place itself, it's an old bridge. It's over 100 years old, and they've built a new one, and they're smashing the other one down. The locals don't want it. The white locals don't want it. It's got it links back to the light horsemen and a guy by the name of Cheval, who was a general that came from Tabulam and raised light horsemen from there. And they do a ceremony where the horses go across the bridge. It means a lot to the white people there, and it means even more to the original people there, because there are bones that were taken from the pylons there in 1987. Uncle Lewis was there when that happened. There are artifacts that are still there, and we've heard and we know this is true. They're finding so many artifacts there, they're destroying them. Now we got 7. And some of those artifacts are stunning. They should have, if they were seen anywhere else in the world, construction would stop. We've heard of this a lot, where when they're putting roads through and there's a Pacific Highway coming through, where the same thing's happening, they're finding amazing sites there and they're just trashing them. There's no one responsible. Now, the original people and the non-original people have stood together and said, we don't want this to happen. We want to keep the bridge. We want to walk over it. You don't have to drive over it anymore. Just walk over it. It's part of their heritage. And those that know better have said, no, it has to come down. And there is good news, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to take a couple of planks from the bridge and stick it in a museum somewhere. So when people want to look at the bridge, they can go to the museum and look at the 2 planks and think about the old days when the whole bridge was there. The most important part of this is the part that shocked me. The birthing site there was registered, which means you can't do this. And then it became deregistered. And then further up the Clarence River, there's another site there at Tabulam Falls, which was registered because it's sacred. Now it's become deregistered. And what I've found out from Ms. Forsyth, who's working with Uncle Lewis and others, is that there's a new law that says if the elders don't go and re-register their site every 5 years, it becomes deregistered. And once it's deregistered, that now means the original people are not allowed to walk onto their site anymore. They'll go to jail if they do. It's a different form of Duke and George. They're not blowing it up in one foul sweep. They're doing it day by day by day. And underneath the pylons, there are bones. Original bones, a burial site. Now you might think, oh, that's old time stuff, that doesn't matter anymore, this happened 100 years ago. No, that birthing site, Uncle Lewis's brother, when I was sitting with him, he pointed inside and said, my brother, he was born there, and now they're going to trash it. So ladies and gentlemen, we wrote an article about that. We try not to get involved in recent political fights, but this is archaeology, and I've seen the rocks. And I can tell you one of those rocks is a star rock. It's got 3 perfect curves that have been cut into the rock with a very fine line, really hard rock, 3 times, and they all meet in one area. And there's 7 straight lines running across there, perfectly straight, perfect geometry. Now that's not even supposed to be in Australia. That rock, it's not even supposed to be in Australia, but it is. We've got other rocks like that, and of course people ignore them. This one was found and given to me. It's been given back to the elders. They've got trustmen over it. And I've got to tell you, when I went there, I was standing around with a camera waiting for Uncle Lewis or Ruth to pick me up and take me to where they were. I had a cameraman, and oh mate, one of the guys there came up to me. He was about my age and obviously in control, because he came up and he got in his, standing near his car. He shut the gate. No one's to enter. There were signs all over. And he says to me, what are you doing here? And he wasn't being nasty. I said, look, just got a camera here and I'm looking around. I said, Uncle Lewis has asked me to come and have a look at the archaeology here. And his response was, I only build the bridges. I just do bridges. I thought, oh my God, you don't have to say the rest, man. I read it straight away. All I've said is the word archaeology, and he's come back and said, I don't do that. I just do the bridges. He could have finished that sentence by, I didn't do it, but others did, but it wasn't me. But he didn't say that, but he did. He did. I've never seen such a knee-jerk, quick reaction to an innocent comment. Like, I'm just standing around looking at it. Now, he knew that a couple of nights before, there was an item in the local news about the bridge and about the fact that no one wants it there. And they work there each day, and they know. And what I can also tell you is that the 7 rocks, they could have come from one of the workers there, mate. You never know. I don't know where they come from because I didn't ask, but it could have, because I don't know how Uncle Lewis could get it because he can't go in there. So somehow those rocks that are part of that site, that are part of the archaeology there, ended up with me for a couple of days, and I can tell you all 7 are legitimate. And one's ridiculous. And one is the best axe head I've ever seen. It's perfectly symmetrical. Beautiful flake there. Some amazing holding stones there for ceremony. And then you've got the star rock. Now, that's just 7. What else is there? Well, the way things are, we'll never know, because they're allowed to destroy the site, and they're just allowed to take original artefacts and throw them away or destroy them. Now, the name of this article is called Crime Scene. That's not my comment. That was Uncle Lewis's comment. He thinks it's a crime scene. You know what? He's right. You shouldn't do this. This is wrong. And they know it's wrong. When I spoke to that guy, he knew it was wrong too. I'm going to tell you something now. I'm going to bet 110% he had nothing to do with it. And he doesn't like it. And that's why his conscience spoke up. And then he stopped himself from going too far. When he says it wasn't me, he could have then said who it was. But anyway, that's a different story. So that's the first part. We've got an article about that. Now originally, and this is just as important, I want to make a comment about the December the 21st at Uluru, the ceremony there. And I'm not going to go over what it's about. Most people would know that anyway. And if you don't, go and check our earlier stuff. We've got something posted anyway. You can read it there. But I have got back one real big concern for the elders there. And it explains to me to why, to an extent, we're hearing stuff about them sort of running down the hippies and New Agers. And I thought that's another form of prejudice or racism. It's no different than saying I'm not racist, but same thing. But then I worked out what it's about. Yeah, they want you meditating. Definitely they want you meditating, but they don't want you there. And we're reading people, not us, because we tell people each time don't come, but I'm going to have to make it clearer. It's, look, you've got to remember, Evan and I wouldn't be there. We were invited because we have something they need for the ceremony. That's the only reason we got an invitation. But every day I get people writing to me or ringing me and telling me why they should go, as if I've got some sort of say in this, or I'm going to pass it on for their behalf, and then that way they'll come. It's not well like that. We don't even know the people involved. We were asked to come because we have something, and I've been told specifically they don't want anyone else there. So if you write to me and give me the best reasons why, and they may well be, and I'm not making judgment on that because I'm not supposed to, and I can't make judgment. Please, you've got to understand that. They do not want you there, and they have good reasons for this. And it's been explained to me. I've never been there. It's been explained to me. There are resorts there, and if you're not in that resort, you can't get in. Otherwise, you're just camping out in the desert in the middle of summer. There's no water there. Where's the deal for sewage there? There's none. You're out in there in the middle of the day. There's no trees to camp under. You will end up getting heat stroke, and then what will happen is the rangers will be asked to call you in. Now the rangers, to be a ranger, you've got to be an elder. They could be the same damn ones involved in the ceremony. And you might be interrupting that ceremony because you're in a position where you can't look after yourself anymore, and they've got to leave that ceremony to sort you out. That can mess the whole thing up. They've made it very clear that they do not, and we know people have said they're going to do it, they don't want people there. They want them, they want you, and they don't want to have a disagreement with you. But what you don't understand is they want you there meditating. and sending your energy, but not your body. So please, would you, if you go there, I'm going to tell you now, if you go there, you are causing offence to the elders who are actually running this ceremony. I want you to think about yourself. You've got to think about what that means. You're actually going there against the wishes of the people who are holding the ceremony. So is that what you want to do? So please don't do that. There is more. When we thought we had a full statement, we hadn't been sent the full statement from the original people about what they want you to do. There's more that's been added to it. We gave what we were given, but we didn't get it all. And as soon as we found out there's more to put up, we have, and we're telling you now, it's on our website. And there is explanation of what they want you to do. And it gives you great detail of what they want you to do, about the fact they want you on the ground at this time. They want you to warm up in advance. They want you to come into this and work your way up to it, all that sort of stuff. And the one thing they don't want is they don't want you there. Now look, once we give them what they need, what are we going to do with that ceremony? Nothing. We're just going to stand back and watch and get out of their way. That's our job, to get out of their way. And that's your job. To get out of their way, let them do what they've got to do, and then you do your bit. But not from here. Now, as I said before, if you're in another country, you've got sacred sites there that have got to be charged up to. Your job is to make sure that when that energy comes, it's received properly and sent on. So don't worry about that. If you're overseas, same thing. Just make sure the timing's the same. All right. Sorry about the growling, but it's come to me, it's been made very clear to me that they're concerned about that. And to an extent, some of the people up there seem to feel like we've been encouraging people to go there. So I had to make it very clear that we're not encouraging anyone to go to the rock. I mean, if you're staying at the Sales or you're staying at one of the resorts there, fine, that's okay. You're inside that area, you're allowed to be there, and if you want to send your meditation from there, if you're going to the conference and you want to meditate from there, that's not a problem. Now, the conference is not related to what they're doing. They're two different things. The fact they're running at the same time, that's just the way it is. But the same thing applies for the people in the conference. None of those people will be getting on buses and going across to Uluru at that time at night. No, they will stay there because that's fine. That's okay. They're happy with that. So please, remember this. This is what I've been passed on to tell people, and I've been told this quite a few times. Don't go unless you've got a specific invitation that's been given to you. Otherwise, if you want to go to one of the resorts, that's fine too. That's okay. But nowhere else, please. And remember, the park is closed at 9 o'clock, so you shouldn't even be there. And this takes place after that. And you shouldn't be there before, as they get ready, because this is something that's very important and it relates to everyone on the planet. So please don't do things that are going to cause them grief. They've got enough issues as it is. And this is a big one for them. They're very worried about this. A lot of issues have turned around this because they're concerned about it. Okay, so please, they're concerned. Allay their concerns by not going. And finally, I think it's chapter 6. Then we've got one more after that, and then December. Now the December one, actually I think it's this one, then December, that's right. The December one's going to be all original. It's going to be on, I think, about the 12th, and we'll put that up in a couple of days. I'm just finalising that. And that's the build up to this ceremony. So it'll be the last one. The one that's coming up, what we've decided to do is, since it's the last one before we have the original people talking, we've tried to spread around this time. The last couple have been rather thematic. One had a very heavy emphasis on carry on, understandably. The last one had a pretty strong emphasis on what comes next. And of course we got through the servers. Anyway, we lost Harry's. We only got 7 minutes in there. So what we've done, for those people who bought the last one, we've now uploaded it. We did another interview with him, brand new questions. I didn't ask the same ones because it wouldn't have worked. And we've put that on, so it's all there now. So that's been covered. Okay, we had a problem technically. It wasn't our fault at all. We redid it, stack it on, and that was supposed to be about what comes next. Now this one is really an overview. I wanted to do a little bit of everything. So Leah, we've had one person who's been badly injured, broke their arm, I think about 6 times, and is really not in a good way. They can't do it. Leah stepped in. She's going to do the alien story again. Okay, there's going to be a bit of emphasis on Atlantis and Lemuria, simply because they're our models for the future. Do we choose to be like Atlantis, or do we choose to be like Lemuria? So Paul Wallace is going to be doing that, and we're certainly going to be talking about that too, and we're going to be looking a bit at, we're going to go back in the past and look at Gnosticism and the link to the dreaming. We feel there's a very important link there, a spiritual link that we haven't chased up as much as we should. We've done all the different empirical stuff with evidence through archaeology, through science, through chemistry and stuff like that. I want to show you how the dreaming was spread throughout the world. And we want to look at Gnosticism, the Christian Gnosticism, and a couple of other religions to show you how they're just pure copies. And we have some other people, and again, we've got Soul Reader. I haven't done this last couple of times because we've been locked into issues again. We want to go back into that meditative part, that part about relaxing, to locking into what's inside you. And we do acknowledge that's an important part because meditation is part of what's coming up. This is what everyone's been asked to do. So we feel like we need to get someone, Soul Reader will do a great job on this, talking about getting locked into that side of yourself. Okay, and we're doing that again. And of course, to keep that overseas link going, because we started last time with Michael, Klaus and Rita, we continued that. And as we said in the last one, there were 4 people in particular when we were thinking, who should we have from overseas? There were just 4 names that popped up straight away. And the first one was Bob. He's the first guy overseas that really picked us up and pushed us big time. It's been pushing us ever since. So, I mean, Klaus and Michael came straight after Bob because we're very close to all of them. But Bob was the one who stood with us first. He's done a lot of research on the links there, and he was the one who actually first contacted us because of Carry On. He already knew about it before we did. And he had theories about that, and he was sort of locked into that. So we're going to do overseas, and obviously some of here again with Bob. So what we're trying to do this time round is do a little bit of everything. I sort of put it all back together and to show you all the different ways this comes together, and that sets us up for the final one. And then we'll do ones next year, but that'll be about how we get used to the new way of doing things. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, have a look at the article about the Tabulam Bridge. It's Duke and George again. And they're pulling the bridge down as it goes. But here's the point. They might have it pulled down before people start to realise it's bad, but you can put it back up again. You can put it back up. But the point is, at the moment, it's just not right. We've got a system now where the white fellas, the black fellas, and all the other fellas, no matter what their colour, when they all say we don't want it, those in control say, we don't care. We don't care. We don't care if 99% of the people in that town don't want it. You get what we give you. And you can't do a thing about it. And if you don't, there'll be a law you've broken. There'll be a way we'll get round to you. We'll look after you if you make an issue there. That's the way it is now. We've got our own ASIO agent. We have a file of threats to go to jail. We know what the rules are now. And think about it. Here we are, a little country town. It's not a hippie town. Oh God, no. No, they're conservative people. Strong National Party voters there. And then you've got other original people there. And you know what? First time. They're all together on this one. There's a picture of their march there, and the black fellas and white fellas marching across that bridge saying we want to say it. The people in the side in control said, we don't care. And we'll do what we want. And what we'll do for you, to acknowledge the bridge, we'll take a couple of planks. We'll go and find a museum 50, 60 k's away, and we'll put it in there, and we'll have a picture of the bridge. That's good enough, isn't it? And by the way, that's what they said they're going to do. So there you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, come and join us in our next webinar. Have a look at what's happening at Tabulam. You might want to get involved in that because the people are fighting together, but they've got nothing. They've got no money, no funding, and the media don't care. Same old story, eh? Anyway, that's all going to change. It's going to change on the 21st of December. And remember, we need you meditating. We need you on the ground. But remember this, the one place we don't need you is at the rock. That place, let them look after that. And the rest of the places, let you look after that. We've each got our job here, ladies and gentlemen, and we should all get it right together.